And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports War. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Report here on a Monday. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony Show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. What a great weekend it was, dude. Nice weekend in Connecticut for us here, Brian. A lot of sports go on. Pumped to talk some football from yesterday, as well as to recap some hockey as well. So, and obviously, like, dying to hear about your experience, Brian.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And let's just, first of all, before we get to the experience, just a little food for thought here. No one's saying this in the comments. It's more just me. You see stuff on Twitter. You see stuff all over the place. I guess the negativity, which, listen, I understand at the end of the day, nobody wants to be down 2-0 in the World Series. I understand. You wouldn't before the series started, you wouldn't have picked it anyway. The crushing game one loss, all of that. But I just think for the people that just want to sell everyone down the river, give up now, you're not a fan. Like, don't even waste your time watching the game. And listen, I understand you're in a hole. It's not what you want. And then the people too they're writing off Judge, for the rest of his career. You don't know what you're talking about. Because if you don't think that man, the cross-country flight on Saturday night, and really till we get first pitch of the stadium later, isn't going over every single at-bat, pitch, footage, technique, talking to coaches, he's doing everything in his power. And listen, like I said, a player as great as him, it is unacceptable the way he's been performing. But to give up on him, and I don't know, that stuff definitely irritates me. And listen, I have in my head, if you're gonna win this thing, how this series has to lay out, and I'm sure other people have their ideas as well. But the first thing, of course, is winning tonight, because that's all that matters. You can think about everything else. You have to win tonight. I feel confident they can win tonight because I know, and I'll be part of it, of course, that the crowd is going to be behind them. And I really could see first inning Walker Buehler pitching, get some runs early, and just go from there. And listen, you could run back in your head about, last game, for instance, only one hit till the ninth inning. Yeah, unacceptable. Or the game before, Nestor to close it out, when his elbow is injured and he hasn't pitched in a month. Yeah, that was stupid. But that doesn't matter right now. What matters is today, and it's one game at a time. And in no way, shape, or form is it over. And if you're a champion, if you have the heart of a champion, you figure out a way to win this game and you move on from there, one game at a time. And I'm just curious, and I'm sure I haven't even honestly looked at any of the comments yet, Tony, but just with you, starting with you first. I mean, is anything that I'm saying outlandish here at all?
No, not at all. I mean, like you said, though, like, obviously you're a Yankee fan. You don't want to be in this position.
No.
You expect to be in this position, but you are. And just like, I know we kind of said it almost like sarcastically last week, but it is onward and upward.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like next game, next man up. Like, you have to win, right? So, like, that's just what you have to do. Like, forget about the last two games right now. Just put yourself in the best scenario that gives you the best chance to win. And yes, last couple of games, they're close. They're nail biters. They're gut wrenching losses.
Game one is a win. I know, like, in terms of, like, if you just don't put it Nestor, and I know you can't go back and yes, you didn't score that much, but come on, Tony. Tim Hill, like, every time he comes in the game, he gets the job done. What are we doing here?
I don't know. It was a very, very weird decision. I mean,
leave Weaver in.
Yeah,
just whatever. Like, whoever you wanted to throw out there, just don't put in Nestor. And I know, like, that's not going to happen again.
Right.
Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite. But like I said, I mean, I think, that I feel comfortable in the bullpen. I think Clark is ready to go. I feel good about that. And like I said, Judge is overdue.
Mhm.
And I just know too that you hear this stuff on social media, all the negativity with the fans, but you're telling me that when he's introduced tonight at the stadium and when he's up for his first at bat, that he's not going to get a loud ovation. He definitely is.
Dude.
And then, are you kidding? What's going to happen if he homers in his first at bat?
Forget about it.
What am I missing there though? Because I know the sample size as the day goes on, it gets larger. I understand that, but it just in terms of how could you say that, like, this is it for his career? He's never going to be good in the vote. Like, how could you say that? Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, you really don't if you are saying that. I mean, I think that is kind of ridiculous. On the other hand, I do see the frustrations, though. I mean, like, it's perfectly natural. I mean,
it starts with me, but I know it's around the corner. I know that it's not gonna. This is not the narrative. That it's not gonna end this way with Judge of the postseason.
Oh no, it's not. There's no way. And
Yeah.
you would imagine, like, throughout his career, I mean, he's gonna have like many postseason opportunities.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no way he's like. I mean, I didn't hear anyone saying that. Did you, like, people like this is it for his career postseason? He's just not gonna show up.
Just like really like, oh, I hate him and stuff. It's like, come on. Like, it's like, yes, is it killing us when he strikes out all those times in the first couple of games? Of course it is. But I know the player that I've seen almost every single game that he's played the last 7 years. I know the type of player that he is. And I know too, because we've seen him go in slumps before, and obviously it's magnified. It's different in the postseason. But I just know too, like, one big blow just gets him going. And I have to question too, and I know, there's no way to know this, Tony, but I do feel like too, that if the Guardians in game 3 didn't end up coming back, that I know in essence, it's the same thing, because in that moment, that home run was big.
Right.
But for some reason, I feel like he would have taken off from there. But because in hindsight, it didn't end up being big, it still didn't give him his moment. And I think a home run in the first inning will give him his moment.
Yeah.
Tonight.
I mean, I can see that, especially now. I mean, people look at that home run and like, oh, it didn't really mean anything. So like, what has he really done for us lately? Sort of deal. So,
right.
But it is only a matter of time. I mean, that guy is going to find contact. And like you said, it's just all it takes is that, and that ball is going out of the park. And I mean, what better opportunity to do it now when you're back at home, high leverage situations? Like, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is a situation like it like, and I know, yeah, if it's so easy, like we all do it, but it definitely with him too, like in the playoffs, it's like of him not being disciplined and not sticking to his regular approach, which led him to 58 home runs in the regular season. It's extending out of the zone. And I think, like, for instance, and he's been pretty good this postseason, but like it was tough last game. Volpe, with 1 out, bases loaded, 9th inning. I mean, he just needed a single.
You got to do something.
Couldn't lay out that slider, but it's the same thing in terms of patience, choking up on the bat. You know what I mean? It's just no preconceived notions. And I've said this for years and years and years. I mean, really, for me, if you want to have a preconceived notion, look for that cookie on the first pitch. Other than that, everything else should be read and react. It should not be predetermined what you're doing in the bat.
Yeah, no, I think so. And like you said, if Judge goes back to that, like he was in the regular season, I mean, he's not chasing that pitch.
No.
Like he would not be, especially in that spot. And it's tough, dude. It really is. And but you would imagine, I mean, I would think that this is the game where he kind of steps up here.
Yeah. I mean, there's no option.
No option.
And I know that these guys have fought too long, too hard all season to just lay down. And it, like I said, I really just the riot, reading the riot act on Twitter, and maybe it's my fault. Maybe I shouldn't look at Twitter, but it really is bullshit to just bail on your team. And some people just take it to an extreme. Oh, I'm done. Like, it's like, if you were done, then you never started in the first place.
I mean, not for nothing. Yeah. Like this isn't even an elimination game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a completely different series. You win tonight.
Yeah.
It's a 2-1 series. Like, and you have 2 more games at home. Like, what are we talking about?
And it's not that far-fetched to think. Like, it's not like you got pummeled like 9-0, 7-1 like the first 2 games. Like, you're not. Like, it's not like that, So it's like it's not at all far-fetched to think you guys will come back. And who knows? I mean, the bats are hot right away. Like, you could be the team that has like an emphatic victory with a large margin of victory. And it's like all of a sudden now momentum's on your side and you're going into game 4 and you're looking pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, hopefully that happens. And I hope we have a moment, because I was sitting there at Dodger Stadium when Freeman hit that grand slam, and literally the stadium shook. It was
So
one
sick.
of the worst feelings I've probably had at a game ever. So let's flip the script, because their fans were, raring all game. But the only thing, the difference is, and I know they will show some stuff on the screen, but the whole Ice Cube entrance in game 2, and then, going to Kim Young, or who's the guy from Hangover, like the famous actor?
Tom Kim. Not Tom Kim.
Ken
Jung.
I think it is Ken.
Yeah,
Jung,
Ken
right?
Jung, something
But
like that.
yeah, he's on the DJ board. They're showing Anthony Anderson. They're showing Jennifer Lawrence. We don't need any of that. It was funny. Corey was going nuts too, because he's like, yeah, they're showing these people, and like no one's even making like an applause. But it's like, yeah, because it's LA. These people are here all the time.
Yeah.
Who cares? Point being, though, Tony, we don't need any gimmicks. Okay, we've talked about gimmicks a lot of time before. We just need a loud crowd behind the team and just make it so stressful and difficult on Walker Buehler in the fucking first inning. Set the tone from the first inning.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you said it, dude. Walker Buehler. I mean, there's no reason you got to fucking pop him, dude. Like he because it sucks. Obviously, he just pitched well against the Mets, and it's like, he's not going to give you length, which is nice. That that,
right?
But like first inning, like make him go an inning and a third. Like don't allow him to get deep in this game. Don't allow him to get going, because once he does get going, that's when he's probably going to pitch 4 shutout innings. But
I feel like the guy, I don't see. I mean, listen, of course, it's sports and anything happens, but I just don't see that happening. I think the guys are so determined to get back into the series, and they know that feeling, how terrible it felt in game 1, and then to have that rally fall short in game 2. There's just no option. And, I think the whole key to today, one game and change the narrative, and, and let's just do it. And that's it, honestly. And then other than that, I'm just trying to think of, in terms of, the trip in general, of course, Tony, and how could you, because that's the whole reason you're there. But, you take away like the losing aspect of both games. I mean, being there was unbelievable. Dodger Stadium, what a venue, and I could see why all these free agents are dying to play there. I mean, the weather being compared to what I'm going to have to deal with tonight when it's 40 degrees in the stadium, dude. It was literally over 70 at first pitch. Really classic. They really have not, everything is like, it gives you that like Wrigley Fenway feel, like with the concessions and stuff. They really haven't done many of those, renovations.
Right.
And the backdrop is unbelievable. I sent you guys some pictures. Really, I mean, what an iconic, venue. So it was awesome to see the game there, and being in the 300 section, but like in between home plate and first, like perfect seat. I mean, you really could see real well.
Hell yeah.
So that was great. And it's interesting too. Like, luckily it worked out the first game. So we had a shuttle to go there. So that got us there. Still took probably 45 minutes, all the traffic. Oh, go to this gate, whatever. And then leaving, same thing. But we learned second game, we wanted to make sure, because we did an overnight flight.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure that, we got there on time, because we actually had to take an Uber to Ontario, California, which is like 45 minutes from LA to get the overnight flight. So we left like 9th inning. So obviously,
my gosh,
yeah,
dude.
Thank God. Like, imagine if they had rallied and missed it.
Holy shit.
Because then we walked down so we get an Uber on the street. I was, watching on my phone and stuff.
Right.
So that way you have to do what you got to do. Obviously. But it was in where we stayed, the hotel, great. JW Marriott, one of the best hotels I've ever stayed at. The concierge breakfast was great. Get your omelet. And then the pool was unbelievable. That was awesome, being able to do, the show out there, and the location, unbelievable, to just be able to walk across the street to crypto.com is just unreal. The Kings, dude, the Kings game was sick. Kopitar, dude.
Yep.
That was nuts. And
That's
really,
awesome, dude. What a surprise! Like that
Yeah.
was so nice.
Yeah, just last second, like, oh, I can't believe the tickets are that cheap. Like, that's just unbelievable. And the fact too that it was like, oh, you just walk across the street, and then oh yeah, once you're done, the Uber will just pick you up right outside and take you to Dodger Stadium.
Ridiculous.
So we got in 2 periods, which is nice.
That's so sick.
It's cool to see Utah play
Yeah,
as well.
dude.
And I was saying, I guess it's just that's what they keep it this way to get the the fans in the building, but just how inexpensive the tickets are. But yet, I mean, I would say the place was probably 90% full.
Oh yeah.
So it's interesting, but I guess it's just because like it's a cold weather sport. You're in Los Angeles. Like I'm saying, like I'm surprised that the tickets are so inexpensive if they're getting good attendance as well.
Yeah, true. And I mean, it is the Kings, not for nothing. I mean, a historical franchise that went on their run as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just not as popular.
Yeah. So I guess the fear would be, we raise prices, then no one's gonna go.
Must be nice though that they don't raise the prices. Like that's pretty sick.
It's everything is supply and demand, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have to. I know it's annoying because believe me, it's annoying for me. But if you just, what I would look at it as, like, you think about like these owners or who's ever in charge of that. It's like, for instance, if you're selling a house, I don't want them to overpay, so I'm going to charge $50,000 less. Like, you know what I mean? It's supply and demand. That's the world.
No,
we just have to maneuver through it, Tony.
Maneuvering currently.
Plus, I mean, come on. I mean, I would rather like go to like a couple Ranger games and like really good seats than get season tickets to the Kings. I mean, let's be real. Like, obviously, I'm there. I want to go to the game. Sure.
Right.
Obviously, another time Rangers are in town, great. But it's like there's nothing like seeing your own team.
Yes. No. Of course. Dude.
So a lot of comments here. Let's get to those.
Yes. So many comments here. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's scroll up here. Brian Barnaby comments first. The old asterisk will bounce back tonight for the title here. We had Josh B, the press, saying Jets ... laughing emojis. I'm sure we'll get to that. Dude, I'm talking about. I mean, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. He also says, "What up, fam? What's up, Josh B? Glad you're in the house here." Michael Bucked coming for Brian's throat. I think he should move to California. It's clear, Brian. It's your home. Every time Brian goes away, I'm putting a tally mark down. Man, this guy goes away too frequently. We got to get this guy a new job in California. Get the men a beach house permanently, Brian. You're not in California. Wow, shocker, dude. I think he wants to get you a beach house so he can visit.
Yeah.
When did you come back from LA? We already covered all of this, dude. It says, when are you going to the game tonight, Brian? He wants to know.
Just tonight, Michael. But yes, I will be at Yankee Stadium.
Wow. Dude, my mother in the house saying, hi, fellas. Happy Monday, Mom. Good morning. Kev Dew says, let's go, dude. Jets suck game 3 tonight. Hope Judge snaps out of it. Freeman is a beast. Ohtani hurt. Yanks might be able to pull it off, dude. And then Michael says, are you still going to the watch party if there is a game 6 or 7?
Red Eye. Oh,
really? Stop it. That'd be ridiculous. Or the back. Kings, Dodgers, back-to-back games. Would you go to the stadium?
Would you?
No, I'm saying, did you ever, or I guess probably not, obviously, but like, would you go to like the stadium watch party? Because I think those are kind of like, I don't know. Ugh. At that point, I'd rather watch it at home,
Yeah,
like,
probably just watch it at home, honestly, yeah. Especially because it's cold out. Like,
right. Why would you go out there? And it's like, I don't know. Interesting. Matthew Gabriel in the house says, let's go, dude. Come on, boys. Let's fucking go. We know what must be done, he said. Patience, Brian. Patience at the plate. If you bail, you're an effing fraud, he says.
Yes, exactly. We don't want you. We don't need you, okay?
And my mother says, would you say the same if it was the Mets? I don't know what she's referring to.
No, just because I said about, like, bouncing back, whatever. And, of course, like, it's always, I don't have that perspective to say. I think that's more of a question for Tony, to be honest.
Absolutely. And not, what I'm going to say is, like, of course, Mom. And Matthew Huber says, F out of here. Jay Bird, tight. Woody Johnson needs to sell the Jets. And then Michael Buck says, Barnes, the red eye suck, he says. How long was the fight back? 6 hours.
So actually, which this doesn't even make sense, but somehow it was 4 hours and 45 minutes. Maybe Ontario, a little shorter flight.
Oh, maybe.
Flight path.
Winds at your back, maybe.
Oh, and I have to say, I didn't even mention this. It was actually, especially because I had taken this flight with Sam. Remember when I went a couple years ago for my sister and Chokri's bachelorette and went to Lakers? So we did it the same red eye. That time did not sleep for 1 second. This time, Tony, slept for 98% of the flight.
Really, dude?
I looked over at Corey and I was like, you know, this flight felt like it was 5 minutes.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was so raw because I'm thinking, oh my God, yesterday is going to be a disaster. I'm going to be so tired. And then the whole thing, I didn't even mention this. So our original flight was out of Newark, but this overnight came into JFK. So we had to Uber from JFK to Newark once we got in.
Holy shit.
And then JFK, I guess I never take Ubers from there.
Yeah.
You have to take the AirTran off the flight just to get to the rideshare.
That's right.
I had no idea because I never do that.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Newark too was great. The parking, the shuttle comes every 5 minutes.
Parking's good.
So much easier. And yeah, I would say net, you know, it's probably a little more than the smart park that I do at JFK. But the fact that the shuttle is so quick, you can't beat that because there's nothing worse than like waiting a long time for the shuttle. So yeah, that was great.
Yes, it was great, dude. We have a newbie in the house, by the way. Jonathan Sean Cup. Probably botched it. This is my first time catching the Sports Port Show live. Dude.
Welcome to the family,
dude. Yankee fan, Lakers fan, Kings fan,
we need
Mets fan.
We need some Yankee energy here.
Dodgers fan. Oh. No.
Stop.
All right, let's go. Triple Nine Juices. Good morning, dude. Michael Buckta Barnes, Best Western #1, dude. Inglewood.
Oh, that's JD talking sports. So good to have JD in the building.
Way,
and I don't know if you caught this, but right before Game 1, when JD was doing his show, I actually jumped on Instagram Live.
Did you actually?
Just to explain the whole World Series thing with them. So that was awesome.
That is sick.
And I told him anytime he wants to call in. We'd love to have.
Yeah, he was great. I remember. I've caught their Instagram Live a couple times, dude. They put on a funny show. No doubt, dude. I'd love for him to call in.
The TCA really shows out for that.
Yeah, dude. And when you see it for the watch party, the energy, the excitement, dude. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's fucking go. And then speaking of let's go, Michael Buckta, Inglewood 1, Best Western, just confirming here, dude.
Michael, let me just, because you've mentioned this a couple times before, let me just, because I don't think I straight out said this, Michael, and I don't mean to hurt your feelings here, but the Best Western is a fucking shithole.
Can't do it, dude.
Like, absolutely not. I don't know where you got that from. You don't want to do that, dude.
No, you really don't want to do that. And he says that you went in 2022 to California from March 2nd to the 6th, buddy.
I don't even think I knew him then. How the hell did he know that?
I don't know, dude.
Is it because he heard me say that I went to the game when LeBron had the 50 points?
Maybe. I don't know, dude.
That's kind of like, would you be a little like freaked out?
Oh, yeah.
Like, actually, I was just looking up my ticket the other day, so I want to confirm
Let's confirm it here.
because I have it on Game Time. The receipt, $270. How about that? $270 because it was Lakers Warriors Saturday primetime, but this literally a section over, Tony, from where I sat at the Kings game for $28, and this is 2 years later.
Oh,
kind of nuts, though, right?
Dude, that's ridiculous. That's highway robbery, dude.
So let's see if Mr. Butka. That's just Pete. Yeah, yep, he is right. Because the game started at 5:30. The next day we had an overnight flight. So, but it is because I said that. But all right, continue. I don't know why you
that's he says to you, not a bad trip, my man. And he says, I'm a smart man, Barnes. I heard you say you spent 2 days in SD.
I know he's like this. He, like, you say something one time, he doesn't forget it.
Yeah, remember, especially when it has to do with California, dude.
Like, yes, exactly. Yeah, so that was a great trip. That time anyway. This time again. Was of course a great trip. You just just really wish we could have grabbed Game 1, but I know it's like you can't think about that, and especially the players. The players can't be thinking about that. They got to be thinking about tonight, and that's what I'm thinking about tonight. And like I go into further detail, but the plan to win this series, like I said, there's no way around it. Tonight needs to be your night, and is going to be your night. So I feel good about that.
Yeah, you should.
And you know, like I said, I think Walker Buehler being out there, the fact that it's a right-hander, I think these guys take too much pride in themselves to just go down like this.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And we got a comment here
Do we know who Poop Barlow is?
No, we don't know who.
But
Poop
it's somebody
Barlow
who like
is.
made that name and is like cracking up that they made it. Or
Probably right. I mean,
Okay.
Poop Barlow. I don't know what Barlow.
I mean, I guess it's kind of funny because it's so ridiculous, right?
Like Barlow, like high school, like
Yeah.
Joe Barlow. You think? But he says, "Are we going to boo or cheer Aaron Judge's first at bat tonight, Brian?"
Come on, you know the answer to that. You cheer your captain, and that's what he needs. The fans behind him, and the adrenaline rush that Aaron Judge will get, standing ovation, first at bat, home run, introductions. Come on, we got to stand behind our guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he's saying it here too. I mean, Yankees need to get to Walker early, can't allow him to settle in, or it'll be a long night. I mean, that's exactly why the fans got to show up, like fired up, like first inning, like you got to be roaring. You got to rattle like Bueller.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think they will.
Honestly. I think they will.
He's not
too.
a good pitcher anymore.
I mean, there's no way. I couldn't imagine like
stifled. No way.
No way, dude. No way.
Fucking way, dude.
And then my mother says, "You are a celebrity, Barnes."
That's a good one.
And Michael Buckton wants to know how long he went to California in June.
Because this is one of those things he didn't forget about it. Because I think we went over it one time. I said the amount of times that I'd been there
5 years ago.
Asking. I'm trying to think that trip. It was. I have to say. I mean, listen, it was 5 years ago, so time has passed. But it was soured because let me think about this for a second. That was my second trip to California, and I think it was like the second day my grandma actually passed away. So it just unfortunate that happened, while we were out there. But same time, it was good because both my sisters were out there and stuff. So we were all together for it, at least as siblings. So, but yeah, that was, other than that, of course, that was a good trip. And it's kind of interesting because, like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like San Diego moving forward for foreseeable future when I go back probably will be more just to see the Yankees play, because me and Sam kind of like we've been there a few times, so it's kind of like Newport Beach is the spot, and I really want to go now, especially that I went to Dodger Stadium. I want to go to that Angels Stadium, and I feel like tickets will be so much of a better deal there.
Oh, definitely,
they suck, but like the stadium seems nice, and I heard people talking out there so easy, like going to and from the stadium. Dude, the traffic at Dodger, like if you saw, and it's all like straight up a hill, dude. Like it is crazy there.
They had like a million different things going on too in the air because it was the Kings game, the Dodgers game, I think USC, and then there was a concert going on at the new Clippers stadium.
Yes.
Wild, dude. Wild stuff. Into it, yes, dude. But I guess I didn't ask you this. Where does the Dodger Stadium now fit on your like hierarchy of stadiums that you've been to?
It was San Diego. Is probably going to stay number one. I mean, we'll see. There's other stadiums.
You've been to Wrigley?
Been to Wrigley.
Dodger Stadium better than Wrigley?
I would say they are the same. It's just like, of course, like because it's so warm and like the palm trees, like you're gonna maybe give an edge to Dodger Stadium.
Yeah,
but I mean they're right there. Iconic venue, and I mean I would say they're right up there together. And then
what do you got?
No, he says no, we didn't. Oh no, that's so unfortunate. Where did you go in California in 2019? San Diego, Michael. And your mother is watching a Christmas movie.
A little early, you think?
For the Christmas movie. Usually like Thanksgiving the cutoff, no?
I mean, yeah, exactly. I would think Thanksgiving. I mean, right now it is, Halloween. It's Halloween week, so we have some Halloween movies on in the studio. Like,
isn't it so much fun to wear
Christmas
costume?
yet, dude? It's actually funny. We're going a costume party. Yeah. Like,
what is it?
Halloween. It's ironically enough, it's another artist in the building is throwing it, and she's doing 90s Disney themed. So kind of like Mike and Renee are pretty right.
Wait, so when is this again?
On Halloween, Thursday.
Thursday is Halloween.
Thursday is Halloween, dude.
Gotcha.
Why, you dressing up? You going somewhere?
No, I just
you'd be wearing that.
Like yes, if I had to, but I honestly, that's something that always bothered me, especially as we got older. Like, understand we're younger, everybody's doing it, yada yada yada. But that always did bother me as we got older and like college and stuff. Like, oh, you're like frowned upon. I know I said frowned upon instead of frowned upon. Okay, so clip it up, please. No, it sounded ridiculous to me, to be honest. But I'm saying where it's like, oh, you go to like a party in college or after that, and it's like, oh, you have to dress up or you're an asshole. It's like, I don't think that it should be like that. Like, I understand when you're younger, but as you're older, like, come on. If you don't like costumes, you don't like costumes. I know I'm not alone, but I know maybe I'm not in the majority, but I just the stress of, oh, you gotta wear a costume. You gotta. Like, why do you gotta? Could you explain it to me, Tony?
I mean, you don't really have to, I guess. But yeah, I mean, in college, you were an asshole if you were like at the party, like not dressed up. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? Are you serious, dude?
Yeah, but fuck that, honestly.
Let's get this back. Some comment. My mother, Matt Stadium is the best. Bang. And then Poop Barlow back in here says, no one with dignity. Oh, sorry, should bet on the damn Jets. Wow,
well,
dude.
At least you know what, Tony, with the picks this week, at least that put him to rest for the season. You know what I mean? We don't even have to like consider it, think about it. We knew going in trap. And honestly, the loss didn't bother me because I already figured it was over. And then it's just like that was the icing on the cake. So.
Yeah, no, you're totally right here. And then Poop Barlow says, I get a effing heart attack every time the play clock hits 1. Which, dude, I mean, we'll talk about it. Burning the timeouts, first quarter, for the whole half. I mean, it's like, what are we doing, dude? He says Belichick to the Jets right now. That would be crazy.
And that would never happen.
That would never happen.
I think we'll win the lottery before that happens.
I think so too. And my mother wants me to go as Jafar or Geppetto. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, I mean, that's the one thing I do hate is like when it's like you got to really think and like go out and get like shit for your costume. Like that is annoying.
Yeah. The
process of getting your costume. It's annoying.
Yeah, very annoying.
And I go as Jafar. Do you know what Jafar is?
No.
It's like it would be an elaborate costume, Brian.
Yeah.
Even Geppetto. Like, I guess Geppetto not so much.
And I guess just
overalls
to really get a better understanding,
whatever.
I'm just curious because I feel like you could tell me this because that's why, you know, I say it every show that, you know, you're in costume.
Yeah.
But specific to this, though, not like it's different. Obviously, you guys are shooting a movie, but I'm saying for like something like this, what is it for you that you enjoy with like wearing a costume? I'm just trying to like look inside on the other side of this thing because I'm so like on the other side, like fuck that. Like what does it give you that like gets you like riled to?
What does it give me? Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, it's a multitude of things, you know, one of which is the fact that, you know, this doesn't happen often, you know, the ability to dress up.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of it, because
so you dress up every day, like if you're going to be like frowned upon, like you'd come in dressed up.
No. I'm just saying, but because well, maybe at first, but then, you know, after a while, I'll be like, all right, this is kind of like getting old, you know, sort of deal. So it's like, you know, I think because just once a year, like it's infrequently, and then everyone does it, you know, like everyone's into it. Like,
so everyone jumps off the bridge.
It's not like, I mean, obviously if my life was in danger, I wouldn't be dressing up, you know?
But so that's interesting though, that's part of it for you, that it's because everybody else is doing it is what makes it seem, I don't know, like better or more exciting.
Yeah, because it's like everyone jumps on board, everyone's into it, everyone's dressed up, everyone's, you know, having a good time.
So it
like
kind of sounds like the time of everybody like jumping on the Jets bandwagon. They get Rodgers, and then what type of time are we having, right?
Terrible
time. You gotta be careful with those bandwagons. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I mean, this one has been tested, tried and true here over the years. Like, I've never had a bad Halloween. You know, I've always been like dressed up as whatever it may be, and then you're having a good time, dude. Like,
and a couple more things here that I'm gonna need your help with. So Poop Barlow says Salah was a scapegoat, only made the defense worse,
which is kind of factual.
But even if I'm coach, like they got to do better than what they've done. So I don't really care about that. Plus, come on, Salah has no track record and hard to take seriously. So
there was a stat early in the game that showed like Jets
the defense, but I don't care about that though. Look at his fucking record. How about that stat?
Totally
stats? Let's look at that stat. And then Michael Buck is saying Jafar the villain from Aladdin. Yep. Your mother says, how about Winnie the Pooh? Geppetto is easy shorts, suspenders, knee socks, little glasses. That sounds very easy. Come on. And then what does this mean? Poop Barlow. Y'all should LARP. What does that mean?
LARPing is like when people go to like fucking Renaissance fairs and like fight medieval, like with the foam swords and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. Live action role playing is what that stands for. But my mother also says because it's funny, Barnes. And then Michael Buckton says Disneyland is classic. The castle says it all. And then Michael Buckton says Geppetto is a boy.
I still have no idea what any of this stuff is.
Geppetto was the guy who made Pinocchio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you're not familiar. maybe when you were a child.
Yeah, maybe.
But Michael in the house, speaking of children, says, I'm not riled, but I'm looking forward to hanging out together. Barnes can just wear a jersey, and he's a Yankee player.
And also, too.
He's not riled? Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
No,
I mean,
and
you should
also,
be
too, I
riled,
hope when I was talking about this, it wasn't to like shit on this party. I was just saying, just from my perspective, that it has bothered me. And listen, that's honestly, Tony, I pride myself on that I'm straightforward.
Yes.
We're not leaving anything.
Nothing wrong with that, dude.
Yeah.
Yep. Everything's out there in the open.
But why does Michael Bucket want me to be dressed up as Zazu?
That's something that escapes me here.
And then Tony dressed up as Mufasa?
Mufasa.
Barnes,
Lion
can I
King.
take pictures at Disneyland?
Oh,
and send
that's
you?
why, dude.
I would say, Michael, send them to Tony because I'm not. That's another thing, too. I'm not a Disney guy. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not. And I don't even know if you really are. Like, in terms of, I guess you kind of are, right? Or no?
I do enjoy, there are Disney movies out there I do really
But,
enjoy. Yeah.
no, but I'm talking Disney.
Oh, Disneyland? Or
Yeah.
World?
No, and then the prices, dude, that has to kind of, like, ruffle your feathers a little bit.
Yeah, no, it does. Like
You're anti-Disney park almost.
Oh,
Like,
but-
oh, yeah, no, you want to go to 3 parks in 3 days? Yeah, they'll be $1,000.
no, oh my god,
mean,
no,
come on.
literally, like I did that trip, and it was like $1,400, like for the whole trip, which isn't like I guess hindsight terrible for a weekend.
The
But
prices. Come on, Tony. You're big on the value. There's no value there.
there is no value, but I will say, I mean, I had a great time. Like there was nothing that I did not enjoy.
Would
there.
life feel incomplete, though? Rest of your life, you didn't go back there.
If I didn't go back there ever again, probably not. If I never went there though, then yes, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
everyone should do it once, dude.
no, and I literally the only like I guess I did it when I was like a couple years old. Don't remember.
Yeah.
Went back in high school. Yeah, it was cool, but like you just said, no reason, especially for that
Right.
money. Get me courtside seats at the Magic game.
No,
instead.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah, that's a way better value. Yeah, way better. I will say though, like Epcot, when you drink around the world and they have all the food from all different countries,
So I
like
guess
that
I didn't
is
do
sick.
that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would be good. But even so, Epcot, like there's some rides there, but that's still right. I mean, it's $200-300 just to go for one day.
No,
It's got to be two. It's got to be to get in.
No, I don't think so. I want to say
What's your
tickets
guess?
to get in the park are like $75-80. You want the fast passes are for free, or like free? They're like only a certain amount of numbers.
Yeah, I remember the fast passes.
yeah.
Ticket prices are subject to change. For example, a one-day ticket to Epcot on April 10th, 2024 costs $154.
Oh,
One-day ticket to Epcot at Disney World typically costs between $109 and $159 plus tax, depending on the date of your visit.
okay.
But go me to the sports game. Come on.
No, yeah, you're totally right, dude. Totally
Yeah.
right.
And then I guess Michael Bucca going to Disneyland.
Oh yeah, I'm going to
graduation
Disneyland.
gift.
No matter how expensive those damn prices are, it's a graduation gift for me.
Yeah.
There we go, dude.
No, I mean, enjoy it. And this is now we're talking about language. Barks, we go to a Laker game. And it's funny because I'm kind of like, basketball has kind of turned me off the last couple of years. But I have to say the Laker game that I went to a couple of years ago was great. And I definitely would go to another one.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Dude. I would go to one too.
Yeah.
Last time I went to a Knicks game, it was great.
Yeah.
Had a great time.
Absolutely. But let's move on here. Let's go to the world of the National Football League.
He wants Jefferson, climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Justin Jefferson, the catch of his life.
Burrow fires, intercepted, picked off at a pick six. Minka Fitzpatrick, an absolute ball hawk.
Niners twist up front and get to Tagovailoa. Bosa again.
Mahomes escaping, on the move, stops, spins, flips it forward for the touchdown.
Stop it.
Aaron Jones, oh, what a tackle. Quincy Williams with a pile driver.
All right. So we're just gonna run down the results from yesterday, and I was 1:00 games and into the fours. I watched a decent amount of the action. Had the red zone going, had the Jets on a standalone team. Not that they deserved it. But was falling asleep too because the jet lag and the overnight flight, that was kind of tough. But saw a good amount of action. Hansen always does a good job on the red zone. National Tight End Day, and supposedly, and maybe we'll need some Michael Butka fact checking on this, but supposedly, I don't even understand how this is possible, Tony. All the years that the NFL has been around, they're claiming that yesterday set a record for the most receptions by a tight end. I don't know. I just feel like how is that possible? I don't know. I just think, especially, I guess if you think about it, though, there's more teams than ever. So I guess it's possible. But it just seemed to me like, I don't know how what are the chances of that happening? Especially going into it, they're talking about how, especially for fantasy, tight end production is down. I mean, did you hear that too or no?
I mean, I didn't hear that for fantasy, to be honest, but
Yeah.
the whole tight end day thing,
Yeah.
which I didn't even know was ever like a
I remember
non-official.
them doing it last year.
Because
Yeah.
Kittle, right? Did Kittle
Yes,
say it last
yeah.
year? But I remember it being like that big, like
Yeah.
now
Well,
all of a sudden,
Hansen.
like yeah. But he did say, I think there was like before the primetime game, which I don't know if Kittle had a touch, or I mean, I know he had a lot of receptions.
He did have a touchdown.
But I think there was like 41 touchdowns up until the primetime game, and 17 or 15 of them were from tight ends, which was, I think, it was, well, first of all, it was the most amount of touchdowns in like a week all season, and I think he did say it was the most by a tight ends ever.
Yeah.
So
it just
I
kind
mean,
of like,
you know,
what are
whatever.
the
Like,
chances,
what are the
right?
chances?
Yeah, it
though?
just
Like,
seemed a little rigged, dude.
it did kind of seem,
But I
like,
just think
rigged.
I'm not saying that the like stats from yesterday are true, but it just feels like if we really go into the archives, it's like seems like something that no one is going to put in the time to check that stat. That's all.
Josh B would.
Yeah, that's true. Or Michael Bucket probably already looked.
I mean, let's go, guys.
But speaking of let's go, guys, something that caught me off guard here, and it was a close game early, and then the Eagles outscoring the Bengals 27-7 in the second half, 37-17. So the Eagles moved to 5-2. And it does surprise me because it just, they had the injuries earlier in the year. I know Saquon's been great all year. It just, you felt like, I mean, you have a really good running back, but is that really going to carry a team? But I have to say, Tony, maybe it has. Maybe it has brought these guys together because they've been answering the call lately. He had over 100 yards yesterday. How about Jalen Hurts? I think he's the franchise leader in rushing touchdowns. Now, 3 rushing touchdowns for the Eagles yesterday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought this was a pretty impressive win on the road. And it has definitely changed my mind about this team. And I think the key is, like he did yesterday, Hurts doesn't turn the ball over. But if you combine Hurts making, high percentage throws, and yesterday, I mean, he really did the most with his throws, 236 yards and only 16 completions. So he's throwing the ball down the field. Smith led the way in receiving with 85 and a score. But if he's doing that, and then Barkley is just running with this type of pop, I mean, the Eagles all of a sudden could actually be a contender this year.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, things are really coming together there. It really is, dude. Kind of crazy, like. Because at the start of the year, it just seemed like that they were not getting the locker room together.
Right.
Jalen Hurts wasn't looking great. And like you said, Devonta Smith, who was injured,
yes,
right?
And Brown were injured for a little bit.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. And then now all of a sudden Hurts is producing well. That pass to Smith, which I believe resulted in a touchdown, was like a 45-yard long pass basket right there, like on a rope, dude, like perfectly like placed, literally. So it's like something's going well. Like you said, too, on top of that, I mean, Barkley's been running downhill all season. So I don't know what it was, if it was just the fact that because of the injuries, they were kind of like rattled. It took a while for them to settle in. But I mean, against the Bengals team that looked like they were starting to get going, I mean, totally blanking them here. I mean, that's huge for the Eagles.
Yeah. And on the other side of things here, the Bengals, they had some momentum here. The 0-3 start, 3-4. Oh, you win 4-4 reset. Oh, wait. The defense, once again, I mean, Burrow didn't play bad. 26-37, 234, a touchdown and a pick. T. Higgins missed this one with an injury he suffered later on in the week in practice. So, while it's not over yet, it's definitely getting late early for the Bengals. And if you're going to get gashed on the ground like this too, I mean, you really don't have a chance. So they've really put themselves in the scenario now with 3-5 and, almost at the halfway park pretty much here. Where, I mean, their next, I don't know, 6 games, like they got to go like 5-1 to really kind of get back in this thing.
It's kind of crazy. And, you mentioned the defense allowing up the rushing yards. They had I think 50 rushing yards total. I mean, their rushing game wasn't going well.
Chase Brown. Mixon's been doing great for the Texans.
Right.
So that must
hurt.
hurt.
Oh my God. Brutal. And it's like, yeah, tough loss here. It's a good team. You have the Raiders next week at home, but you haven't won a game at home all season
and
yet.
The Raiders have lost 6 in a row.
I know.
So
Minshew's definitely tight over there. Minshew's very tight. Dude.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting to see. So they got the Raiders next week. And then what is the scenario with the Eagles? Let's see. I have it right here. The Eagles, where
they're going? They're playing Jacksonville at home.
Oh, okay.
And
So
then they're on the road against the Cowboys, back at home against the Commanders. That's gonna be a huge game
yeah.
for the division.
But I mean, they find themselves in a good spot, especially with the Dallas loss, which we'll get to. But
I guess
them
so.
and Washington should be battling this out for the division crown.
Definitely. And I mean, those like after Jags, Cowboys should be interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
But then Commanders, and then you're in LA against the Rams and then against the Ravens. I mean, that's going to be like a tough 3 weeks right there, 4 weeks for them.
But it's just, Saquon, I really think he's put the locker room together. I mean, obviously not knowing, just taking kind of a guess, but just from what you see out of him, he does seem like a good guy, a glue guy. So maybe that is what they needed.
I mean, he's being dealt to the Eagles with like such strides.
Grace.
Yeah. Really, literally, really, no like remorse, no like animosity towards the Giants or anything. And he's just sitting here, he's playing his game.
Yeah. So it's obviously not for Giant fans, but as an NFL fan, I mean, it is great to see him because you did think all these years and all these losing teams, it'd be nice to see him in a winning environment. That's what you get this year. The shock of the day, the Browns 29-24 over the Ravens. Jameis Winston, Tony.
Can't believe it.
Making the first start of the season 27-41, 334 and 3 scores. So upsetting the Ravens here. Pretty remarkable stuff. And it is interesting. I mean, this has to be frustrating for Browns fans because they have been clamoring for the last few weeks. They want Winston to start, not Watson. Comes in first game, best team in their division, and they upset them. I mean, that's got to be a pretty good feeling. And the fact too that he spread the ball out, hit 6 different receivers.
Ridiculous.
Cedric Tillman had 2 touchdowns. So it is interesting. Like, you don't want to get ahead of yourself. It's always, it's only one game. And we've seen Jameis, whether it's off the field, on the field, make questionable decisions before. But I have always thought that, and I know he kind of got an opportunity with the Saints, but that, he deserved another chance because the ability is there. That's why he was such a great college player at Florida State. And, he did throw for over 5,000 yards in the season. So, be interesting to see. I mean, it's probably too late for the Browns here, but I am interested to see how he plays down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I guess that Watson injury was probably one of the better things to happen to them. I mean, especially with the fact that they were very adamant about, hey, we're paying this guy a lot of money. He's going to be playing regardless. So, obviously, Jameis Winston here taking advantage of an opportunity. And, I mean, at the end of the day of this game, I mean, the Ravens defense just need to show up because, I mean, the Browns have a solid defense. Ravens, you score 24, you figure it out. I mean, I don't know, dude. Against Jameis Winston, like, you would think the Ravens defense would be giving up like 14 points.
Yeah, but the Ravens defense has not been good this year, which is interesting because they still have some of those key guys that they've had in past years, but they're just not playing well. So I think that's something they have to work on. I mean, Lamar, could clean it up a little bit. Just 15 incompletions yesterday is a lot. But he did have 2 touchdowns, did throw for almost 300 yards, and also scampered for 46 on the ground. I think one thing, too, Derrick Henry, once again, was effective with his carries, but he only got the ball 11 times. So I think the Ravens are going to be okay. But
they almost won that game, by the way. Did you see the last play?
Yeah.
I was watching that, and Lamar.
Yeah, rolling out. I don't know about you, and it would have been a long shot. I get it.
Run it?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I was thinking the same thing. It was so
I know.
God,
okay, maybe
dude.
you have to go through one guy,
but everybody was back. Dude.
Everybody was back. It would have been tough, like I said, and he probably didn't want to get killed. But, they did have an opportunity to win there, but I do think it's one of those things where they'll be okay. They'll bounce back. They're home against the Broncos next week, which is not the easy game that you thought when the schedule first came out. Nevertheless, at home, rematch of, it was the, or no, that wasn't, why am I blanking here? Ravens, Broncos. Oh, okay. I guess that was just the first week of the season. For a second, I'm thinking that I guess they've had some playoff matchups too. But anyway, I just remember like opening week, the Ravens had just won the Super Bowl, and then they were hosting the Broncos, and Peyton Manning threw 7 touchdowns. I think I was a senior in college, but that was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Always remember that being at the sports bar. Matthew. It was a time.
Wow,
definitely was a time.
Sports bar, dude.
Sports bar at UConn Eastern. Big bar there. And speaking of a good time, the Lions having a good time. 52-14. And I I don't know how close it was exactly, but I think I did say something like 50-10 or something in our predictions on Friday. So this didn't surprise me. And once again, Dan Campbell, just not taking the foot off the gas here.
Right.
Ran for 164,
Oh, yeah,
2 rushing
dude.
touchdowns, got through 3 touchdowns, only 85 yards, but 3 passing touchdowns. David Montgomery even threw a touchdown.
I mean,
and this is all on the heels too. It was devastating losing Aiden Hutchinson.
yes.
Your best player on defense, but they have not missed a beat here, Tony. And after falling in week 1, I mean, they've won 6 straight and arguably look like they could be the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I am worried about their defense a lot, to be honest. I mean, even though, you only get to Mason Rudolph once, which is like what, Levis?
Levis injured.
What's his injury? Do you know?
I don't know.
And also, like, I didn't even realize that Watson tore his Achilles.
Oh yeah,
they were crazy.
I think because was it last weekend you had the dinner?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why you were
dinner.
You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah,
sidetracking.
no, definitely. The food is distracted easily. But and then the run game, was okay for Tennessee. Obviously, not much to see for it on the board here. But you said it. I mean, the Lions, classic, just like Campbell, foot on the pedal, dude, running the ball. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs was all over the place, and you couple that with David Montgomery. Jared Goff was looking good. Like you said, I mean, the Lions are a force to be reckoned with, no doubt. And I mean, I think that they definitely remember how their season ended last postseason. So it's like they're out, they're trying to be better, they're looking for some revenge even. And right now in the lead in the NFC North. So let's go.
Yeah.
Good for them, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I know those Lions fans have been waiting for something to cheer about for a while. Last season was the start of that, and they hope to build upon that this year. We had a Chad Ryland walk-off field goal for the Cardinals in Miami. So Tua's return spoiled, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, the Cards find themselves 4-4 after a 28-27 victory yesterday. So kind of interesting. Kyler Murray, pretty solid game. You look at the numbers, 26-36, 307, 2 passing touchdowns. And then he ran for 19 yards on the ground. They also got a rushing touchdown out of James Conner. So this was a tight game, obviously down to the wire. And I thought in his first start, and after I think he missed the previous 4 games, whatever it was, Tua played pretty well, 28-38 for a touchdown. But at the end of the day, the Dolphins, I think coming into the game anyway, had the lowest scoring offense in the NFL because of the games, what they did when Tua was not playing. But I think it gave them some hope that they could piece some stuff together. But I mean, 2-5, we just talked about with the Bengals. I mean, really the margin for error is very small here. And it seems like Tua, and it's obviously it's something that he couldn't rush back from, but it seems like it's a week or two late here, and it's going to be an uphill climb for the Dolphins to find themselves in the playoffs this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what we said too. I mean, with the injury, Tua coming back for like a game against the Cardinals, and it's like at that point maybe they might be losing that game, and it's like, well, they did now, and then you're in Buffalo next week.
Yeah.
So,
and we saw what Buffalo did to Seattle in
Seattle. I mean, I don't know, dude.
It's over. It's just like the Jets.
I think it is, dude. I think it is over for them. I mean, similar records here, and it's going to be too little, too late down the stretch of the season. And I mean, like their season doesn't necessarily get easier. I mean, they're going to have some really like premier matchups going, and if they're not on their tip top of their game, I mean, they're not winning.
Yeah,
so,
but I like them to finish the season stronger than the Jets, and I would not be surprised if the Jets find themselves in last place after losing 25-22 in New England. The final drive, Jacoby Brissett coming in for an injured Drake May, getting the job done. The Stevenson rushing touchdown on 4th and goal. You had another Zerloin missed field goal and an extra point.
Pathetic, dude. It's pathetic.
So listen, I thought going into this game it was over, and there's no way you could talk to me till you're blue in the face. There's no way that this season is not over and that the Aaron Rodgers experiment, whatever you want to call it, is not a colossal failure, because it is. And the way that they're playing, especially let's say they finish the season with 5 or 6 wins, I just don't see how he signs up for this for another season.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, this was really just a bullshit game, dude. I mean, I really thought the Jets were going to win coming into this game. And even the first couple drives, I mean, they show good defense. They went 3 and out, but whatever. Patriots score first, you answer, but then you missed the extra point. And then it's just, what the fuck, dude? Like, I guess the laces were in, but I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, like, oh my God, dude. So, I mean, and it's not even that. I mean, it's been his track record this year as well. And then it's just like after that, I mean, I just don't get it, dude. Like even at the half, you're up 13-7.
But you had opportunities to get more
points. You didn't.
Kicking that field goal, I think it was late in the first half. Let me just see this.
The field goal that you missed?
No, you missed.
Early.
Maybe it was the field goal that you missed.
Yeah.
But I think it was only like a 4th and 1 or something. I could be getting the plays mixed up, but whatever. I just feel like those situations, you got to just go for it.
Yeah.
And the fact that every big moment you came up short, wasn't there a big 4th down throw and then 4th and goal and then the 2-point conversion on top of it? Not that you were putting yourself in position for that field goal anyway, but it's just a point time and time again, clutch moments. You're not doing it. So,
and dude, the 2-point conversion, you false start.
Yeah.
What are you doing, dude?
False start. But then on their 2-point conversion, the guy's not even covered.
Like, dude, again, to mention every big moment the Jets have in this game, they fucking blow it, dude. And the false starts come every week, dude.
Yeah.
Like if it's like a 3rd and 2 false start, and then all of a sudden it's like a 3rd and 7. It's like, come on, dude. Like, how do you not the count? You know the count, dude.
Right.
So, like, what are we doing here? What is, like, not, like, being coherent? What is not being put across where your offensive line is constantly false starting? You're constantly having to burn timeouts because you don't know when the fucking play clock is ending.
Yeah, no, and even when you do get the snap off, every time, 2 seconds, 1 second.
What is the miscommunication? What is the disorganization? Like, why? Yeah. Why is this happening, dude? Like, I don't even care at that point. Like, it's the coaching. Like, what is Rodgers doing? Like, you're the veteran. You're the guy in the field. You're the leader. Like, how do you not get your boys to the line, call a fucking play, and just run it and execute it, dude?
Yeah.
When has that ever happened? Like, literally never.
And then short week playing the Texans at home. And
so
the Texans
stupid, dude.
Haven't had one of those, like, big wins in a while. Would not be surprised if they went out and embarrassed the Jets. But I know this, too, and they tried to Band-Aid this thing with Rodgers. For them to have any chance at any type of success, they have to do it right. And it's unfortunate because it seems like every year is a rebuild, but you have to clean house with the coaching and the front office and bring in good people. Otherwise, the culture is not going to change. And that head coach is so important. Talked about not having a good coach since Parcells. And it shows in a scenario like this being 2-6.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just it is depressing. Honestly. Yeah, it really is.
And you know what's probably somewhat depressing? I mean, obviously they have a better shot than we do. The Bucs losing again, now 4-4 after a 31-26 defeat at the hands of the Atlanta Falcons here. So Baker, without his top 2 targets, still had a great game, but did throw 2 interceptions. So the last couple of weeks got a little trigger happy. Probably a result of not having those guys. But Kirk Cousins, 23 of 29, 4 touchdowns. Falcons ran for 129 as a team on the ground. And Kyle Pitts, part of tight end day there, 4 for 91 and 2 scores. So good to get him involved. And Mooney led the team in receiving yardage with 92 and also had a touchdown. Bijan catching one as well. So the Falcons, 5-3, and they've had a problem with getting things right for a while. Really, that Super Bowl hangover from blowing that lead in, what was that game, 8 years ago? And it still felt like it was lingering, but getting in Kirk Cousins. And then also, too, it was kind of, there were kind of some eye rolls with them going with Raheem Morris, but I was just talking about this as Jets. I think it's a culture thing. And it seems like he, expects a lot out of his players, and he has changed the culture there in one offseason in Atlanta. Pretty impressive stuff here.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. And that was kind of an opportunity here for the Falcons to take advantage of, a Bucs team that is struggling from their injuries. So you mentioned, down their top 2 receivers. And like you said too, I think we saw it even last game and a couple of their losses where the Bucs were in tight and had the opportunity to maybe make something happen. Baker seems like he does, when he's under that pressure, and he needs to make a big play. He does kind of force throws, which do unfortunately result in turnovers here, which I think what you saw yesterday. And especially in an Atlanta team that kind of had some things going. Obviously, solid production through the air, okay production on the ground with a quarterback like Cousins. I mean, you can't be making those mistakes. You cannot be making, turnovers that end up resulting in the Falcons running downfield and scoring. I mean, that's probably what a quarterback like Cousins is going to be licking his chops at, having those opportunities to make those turnovers feel even worse by scoring on those drives. And I mean, 4 touchdowns from him himself, keeping it clean. I mean, that's kind of what you needed out of Baker. Tough, dude. Definitely tough for the division here now, because I would imagine the Falcons at 5-3 are in the lead,
and then
right?
have the tiebreaker over the Bucs because they swept them. So,
and then there you go, dude. And they've been, I think they're 3-0 on the road,
the
dude.
Falcons may run away with this division, and it's a shame because I'm sure the Bucs feel they didn't have those injuries to those receivers. It's a completely different game, but unfortunately they do. So it'll be interesting to see if they try to put a Band-Aid there, trade for a veteran. Who knows? The Packers are 6-2 after a 30-27 victory over the Jags. So Brandon McManus against his former team, the game-winning field goal. A little bitter here for the Pack, though. Jordan Love leaving late with a groin injury. There is some concern, according to head coach Matt LaFleur.
Really?
So we'll have to see what the tests reveal there. Could be yet another few weeks without Love, and they already had that earlier in this year. But it is interesting. We talk about coaching being a big thing. Malik Willis looked like one of the bigger, I know he was a second-round pick, but just bigger, higher drafted quarterback bust that we've seen, because there was some hype with him coming out of college, and he has really stepped in and really felt the moment and, led them on that drive down the field, was 4 of 5, 56 yards and a score. So at least there's some confidence there. Well, if Willis needs to play, he can run. And then they have a good running game because Josh Jacobs yesterday, 25 carries, 127, 2 touchdowns. So has really done a good job after a very poor season in Las Vegas last year. You look at the early going here, 667 yards and 3 scores. I don't even think he had 1,000 yards rushing last year. Kind of curious actually what the difference was there, because I know 4.6 yards per carry this year. Last year he ran for 805 yards. So a completely different ball game this year, over a yard more per carry. So that's been pivotal for Green Bay. And I know this was tighter than you would like with Jacksonville. They definitely hung in there. And listen, Love might miss some time, but he's going to be back. It's not like an out for the season scenario. So I feel like despite that, I think Green Bay has to feel pretty good about themselves at 6-2.
Yeah. I mean, an important note too, groin injury, I know maybe lingering, but something I think a quarterback can kind of battle through, especially with someone like Jordan Love.
Right.
And I mean, like you said, I guess it's closer than you want it to be, but I mean, Jacksonville, although they aren't 2-6, like Trevor Lawrence,
he's been playing well the last couple of weeks, actually.
Yeah, he has been. I mean, and they don't have. I mean, I guess their receivers aren't phenomenal. Christian Kirk's all right, dude. Yeah.
But Thomas, the rookie from LSU, has been great. Kirk Love an injury, he's pretty good. And then even though, you're out with Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, 18 for 78 yesterday. Yeah. He's done a good job, the second-year running back. So it's a shame, but they are 2-6. And again, just like we talked with the Jets, probably too much ground to make up here.
Really hard to come back from that, dude. I don't even want to
it's too tough to piece together.
It is too tough to piece
that's
together,
for sure.
Which is a shame, because I think Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, man. I mean, he should be having some more to show for, because I think he puts in the work. Yeah,
no, he does. So I don't know if it's, just more of a roster overhaul than a coaching change, but I think it will be imperative if Doug Peterson wants to keep his job to finish strong here, even if you don't make the playoffs.
And I mean, speaking of running away with their division, I mean, it looks like the Texans are going to do just that.
And speaking of that, 23-20 over the Colts. So these games, we talked about it on Friday, always close between the Colts and the Texans. So Texans doing just enough here. I mentioned Mixon. He had over 100 yards and a score. And then CJ Stroud was sacked twice, no picks, was 25 of 37 for 285. So did a good job. Diggs did leave with an injury. He had 5 for 81. Tank Dell with a late touchdown as well. So it just seems like every game for the Texans recently down to the wire, and maybe they're not scoring as many points as they expected to or as they did last season. But at the end of the day, I think 6-2 is 6-2. You mentioned running away with the division. And I mean, I don't think they're necessarily an easy out. come postseason time. CJ Stroud is a good quarterback.
I mean, I wouldn't think they're an easy out at all, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a phenomenal receiving core there. Did Diggs leave with an injury?
Yeah.
He did. I mean, obviously, you want to keep an eye on Matt. But I mean, Schultz has been a solid tight end there on the tight end day, Brian.
Ooh, non-contact right knee injury.
Knee injury, I know, not great, dude. So I mean, you hope nothing's really torn fully, at least anyway. I mean, you hate to see that when it's a non-contact injury.
The notes are saying murmurs of a potential ACL, but we haven't seen anything come out. So obviously, they hope it's just a sprain.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a tough loss for not only them but Tony's fantasy team as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But like you said, I mean, they're coming through this division very nicely here. They're undefeated at home, which is kind of funny because the other team from Texas who used to be undefeated at home, not. But nonetheless, dude, I mean, you gotta be happy with Stroud. Following up this season, he's been great.
Yeah,
like nothing short of great.
And we mentioned the Jets short week shambles. Like I said, I would not be surprised if the Texans blew them out on Thursday. We'll see. Kind of interesting. The Colts, they're 4-4. Anthony Richardson, really an awful game yesterday. 10 of 32 for 175, a touchdown. Did have an interception, ran for 45 yards. And they had to take him out for a play later in the game. He said he was tired. It just, when I watch him, it just seems like more times than not, it's not necessarily with like interceptions, but he just like makes the wrong decision, puts his body in harm's way. And you would think, because there is talent on this team, that Shane Steichen, could kind of groom him a little better where he could play more responsible quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just a little bit beyond them to kind of coach this kid, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I know he started with injury, the in and out, the inconsistencies. But like you said, just watching him play yesterday, I should say, it just doesn't really seem like he can command a field, slow the game down, get his reads in during play, even having an opportunity late in this game to make it like potentially them upsetting the Texans. I mean, he just didn't have it,
Right.
So I don't know, man. I mean, something's got to change there, whether it's his coaching or just him in general, which is a shame to say, dude.
Well, and all of America will get to see that Sunday night football this week against the Vikings. So that's a tough assignment. The Vikings coming off 2 losses, so they're going to be fired up. Speaking of losses, after a 2-0 start, the Saints have now lost 6 straight games, losing 26-8 at the hands of the Chargers. So big win for the Chargers. They've been a little uneven to start here in Jim Harbaugh's first season as head coach, but 4-3. You're right in the thick of things here. Justin Herbert, solid game, 20 of 32, 279, 2 touchdowns, didn't turn it over, was sacked 3 times. As a team, they ran for 122 yards, and Herbert usually doesn't like to run, but he actually ran for 49 yards himself. J.K. Dobbins with a rushing touchdown, and then there was some stat, might have been Ladd McConkey, the rookie wide receiver, I believe from Alabama. First Charger rookie, I guess, with 100 yards and 2 touchdowns in a game, if I'm hearing that correctly.
Okay.
He went to Georgia, by the way, but that was impressive. And I think, listen, the Saints are a shell of themselves. They had to go to Jake Hayner because Spencer Rattler struggling so much.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, as we see with the Jets, I mean, no game is a give me in the NFL.
That's right.
So I think for the Chargers, after they've been really a disaster the last couple of years and lost a lot of talent this past offseason, to be at 4-3, I mean, they're in position to challenge for a wild card. You look at their upcoming schedule: at Cleveland, home to Titans, home to Bengals, home to Ravens. So some tough and not so tough matchups there for them. But I think with Harbaugh and a solid defense and Justin Herbert, who seems like he's playing better every week, kind of finally being healthy from that ankle injury, I think they have a chance. I mean, listen, it's going to be tough, but at 4-3, I mean, you're giving yourself an opportunity.
Yeah, no, you definitely are. And that division, like you said, the wild card, I mean, I do like that. You got to get through Denver, I guess, which
who knows? I mean, they've looked better.
Bo Nix is looking better.
Yeah.
But I would imagine the Chargers, I mean, their type of team, Justin Herbert, the organization, they should like get past them, I guess. But like you said, I mean, their schedule upcoming, kind of some good, some bad. You got to come out, with a winning record, the next 4 games for sure. So it should be pretty interesting to see. I mean, Herbert stayed clean, 2 touchdowns, love that, solid production on the ground. And obviously, I mean, the Saints just unable to get anything going offensively. Your defense, the Chargers, that defense getting 5 sacks in there. Obviously, I forget what exactly the play was, but New Orleans did some weird like end around play, but then end up like throwing it back to Hill, and then just nothing was there. You know, like it's just like whatever the Saints are trying to do, it just seems that it's not going to happen, dude. And like Kamara had some big runs and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know, dude. They're just not a good team. So obviously, you kind of expected to see a Chargers win here. But I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on the Chargers.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, listen, can we trade with them? I mean, I'll take their whole roster. Like, can we just do a complete swap with the Jets? Because I think, you know what I mean? I think this team will probably end up winning 10 games, which I think is pretty good. Like I said, given the roster turnover, Harbaugh's first year, we'll just need some stuff to bounce their way to sneak into the playoffs, maybe as like a last wild card. We'll have to see about that. The Bills look like one of the best teams in the NFL, 31-10 in Seattle. Josh Allen finally throws an interception, but was 24 of 34, 283, 2 scores. Shakir, 9 for 107. Coleman had a dope one-handed touchdown catch. And then James Cook, 17 for 111, 2 scores. I mean, the Bills are humming. I think from yesterday, it will be 3 weeks. They will host the Chiefs. So that will be, a litmus test. Mahomes, couple weeks with DeAndre Hopkins. But I really think in all of the last couple of years, how high I've always been in the Chiefs. I really think this is like their prime opportunity to get past them. And we will see in 3 weeks what they look like. But right now, it doesn't seem like anybody is stopping Josh Allen and the Bills.
Yeah, dude. I mean, good for him, honestly. Josh Allen is looking like his best self this year. I know, he threw the pick yesterday. And I mean, we've seen Allen get into ruts of throwing picks. We've seen Allen get into good stretches, honestly, where he stays clean. But then there's always that game that pops up 3 interceptions. Bang, just like that. And this game, dude, he throws 1. He settles down, clean second half. I mean, definitely a showcase of maturation here in the quarterback position for Josh Allen. And then you mentioned, the rest of the boys over there in Buffalo. I mean, everyone was humming. It just seems like everyone's buying into this year right now. And I mean, I know that they're 6-2 and the Chiefs are undefeated, but I mean,
they look better.
But
it's just like the Chiefs have the Reed Mahomes thing going for them. And the fact that they've had the Bills number. So that's why it has to be seen. But like I said, I would not be surprised if they end up winning that football game. It's at home too, which is good.
It's going to be a great freaking game.
Yeah, absolutely. Seattle, kind of a mess here. 3-0 start, 1-4 since. Rookie head coach Geno, frustration on the sideline. Metcalf didn't play in this one.
Yep.
I think one of the thing is, I think people got ahead of themselves with that 3-0 start. So I think they are going to be around a 500 football team. So it just depends on obviously how they respond to adversity. A team that hasn't responded from adversity would be the Panthers. They're 1-7. Bryce Young in, Andy Dalton injured, and same thing. They lose once again. The Broncos. I believe they were 0-3 and have won 5 in a row, if I'm not mistaken, or 1-3, whatever the case may be, Tony. Knicks, 3 touchdowns, 284 yards on the ground. I know Surtain had an interception in this one. Sutton leading the way, 8 for 100. I mean, quite a remarkable turnaround from that pathetic team that they were last season and the whole drama with Russell Wilson. I didn't think they would turn around this quickly, but I think it's shown that experience, Bo Nix starting for 3 teams in college, has really got him ready. And Sean Payton has been known as one of the top offensive coaches in the league. I think the defense is great. I think Nix is getting better. But 2 huge litmus tests coming up next 2 weeks, Ravens and Chiefs. So you're 5-3, you're in playoff position now. Are you going to be 5-5 after these next 2 games? We would expect that, but at the same time, the way that they've been playing wouldn't be crazy. I mean, we just saw the Browns beat the Ravens.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs have been inconsistent at times. Tight game with the Raiders yesterday. But that's the litmus test to see if this Broncos team is for real. Nevertheless, for 8 games, I think it is impressive with the rookie quarterback.
Definitely. I mean, you said it, starting the year off, 0-2, surprising the Bucks, skimming past the Jets in the rain game there. But then you emphatically beat the Raiders. You're emphatically beating the Saints, the Panthers, getting the job done. It's giving them a chance.
Yeah,
it is. I will say, though, I mean, you look at that loss against the Chargers 2 weeks ago, and although they're in a nice run, winning 5 of their last 6 games here, Ravens, Chiefs, gauntlet.
I mean, that's it. I mean, you would expect it not to be good, but they've been surprising all season. So I'm just saying, I'm going to expect them to go into, but I'm not going to be in any way surprised if they win one of those football games.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And speaking of, we talked about the Chiefs, 7-0 now, 27-20 over the Raiders in Vegas yesterday.
Crazy.
Mahomes had went through this stretch where he hadn't even thrown a touchdown pass, throws for 2 touchdowns yesterday, 260 yards. Did have 1 interception, wasn't his fault, tipped. And they didn't do a great job on the ground, but Hunt with a rushing touchdown. And listen, I mean, the Raiders are a mess. They've lost 6 in a row for a reason. But I think, the Chiefs, at the end of the day, you win all the games on the schedule. What are you supposed to do? And they know it's about just getting ready for the postseason. Kelsey, after a very slow start to the season, has really come on, 10 for 90 and a touchdown. Worthy also caught a touchdown, and DeAndre Hopkins doesn't hit Ernie's prop bet, 2 for 29, no touchdowns yesterday. But, I mean, if you're 7-0, you're obviously feeling pretty good here. If you're the Chiefs, and like I said, it's not about what they do in the regular season. We all expect them to run away with this division.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, can you win the Super Bowl
Right.
for the 3rd consecutive year? Clearly, you have the pieces, and it might not look pretty, but as we've learned from the last couple of years, it really doesn't matter what they do in the regular season.
It doesn't. It doesn't even matter that they don't look good in the regular season.
No, not at all.
It really is like an anomaly almost, because it's like they haven't been scoring a ton. You mentioned Mahomes, whatever. But when they play teams, I mean, I don't know if it's they maybe have the best defense in the entire league, but it doesn't really seem like anyone else scores that much against them either, which is kind of crazy. And even in the instance where, the Raiders put up 20, look, the Chiefs end up putting up 27. Like that's always
they figure it out a way.
Like if the Raiders were to put up 14, look, they put up 21. Like every one of these games, they're figuring out that way in the big spot to come up with the big plays. I think they had something ridiculous, like 3rd down 11 for 14 or something, 12 for 16 3rd down conversions. I mean, that's great, dude. I mean, let's get the job done in those big moments. And again, Raiders 6 for 13, nothing going on very well there. Surprised they even did score 20. But nonetheless, I mean, Chiefs 7-0, dude.
Yeah, and looking to win the AFC West
ridiculous
once again. The Commanders winning on a Hail Mary.
That was wild.
18-15 over the Bears. So what a game there. And again, Jaden Daniels, 326 yards, a touchdown. I know he had 17 incompletions, but coming off leaving the game with the injury last week, it is unbelievable what the combination of him and Dan Quinn have done to energize this team, this fan base. There's been such a negative perception in Washington going back a long time, over a decade. What they've done so far is nothing short of unbelievable. And it's hard to think that this guy is not going to be an absolute future star for the Washington here.
Franchise quarterback, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you look at him on the field, the way he reads a defense, all of a sudden he's just taking off, rushes for 12 yards.
Yep.
I mean, let's fucking go, dude. I mean, he's a great quarterback. It just seems like he's gelling well with Washington as well. What they got going on there? It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to love that for a team that's been probably terrible for the past 2.5 decades.
Oh, yeah. Daniel Snyder's tenure. I mean, just a complete disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, who would think they would be 6-2 and the Cowboys would be 3-4 after yesterday? The Niners, much needed win into the bye at 4-4 here. So 30-24, Purdy 18-26, 260 and a touchdown. They ran for 223 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So, I mean, there you go right there. You have no shot if you're giving up that type of yardage on the ground. Speaking of yardage, George Kittle, the best game of his season, 128 and a score on 6 catches on tight end day, Tony. And Deebo Samuel, 4 for 71, coming back from the illness last week, did have a 47-yard reception. So at the end of the day, it hasn't been easy for San Francisco. And Kyle Shanahan did say this was disappointing to find themselves 4-4 into the bye, but it was imperative that they won this game. And staved off a late Dallas comeback here. So I think it's one of those things, just like with the Chiefs, especially once McCaffrey comes back as well. And I know they're down Ayuk for the year, but I think that the Niners, by the end of the year, are going to find themselves right in the thick of this thing. And maybe they don't have the number 1 seed this time, but it would not be surprised if once again we get San Francisco and Detroit in the NFC title game. Yeah.
I mean, how do you not, you mentioned it, tight end day, Kittle. kills it. Also, I mean, do the Niners just like pump out running backs? Like, is that their fucking
but
thing?
Mike
Dude?
Shanahan started that.
Like, unbelievable,
with
dude.
Terrell Davis, 25 years ago, Tony, 26 years ago. That's what that zone blocking scheme just produces such positive results in the running game.
Like, ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
Isaac Guerrero.
Yeah, who is
Who
that?
is that
Doesn't
guy?
matter, Tony.
Doesn't matter, dude. Does not matter. And then Debo's been a force, as he always typically is. And that's that, dude. I mean, I'm surprised that this game was that close. Dak, the 2 picks, tough.
I mean, too late scores to really get a minute, but it's another loss.
Yeah.
It's a disaster. You got at Falcons, home to Eagles,
Oh.
home to Texans, at Commanders coming up before you get a little bit of a break in the schedule. Giants, Bengals, Panthers. But listen, I'm not going to say that they might not win 9 games, but this team is not going to the playoffs. And this is definitely Mike McCarthy's last year. You could just feel it. You see it so many times. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen, dude. And it's a shame. It really is.
Yeah. It just seems like every year it's just such a waste of talent.
I know. And Zeke back on the team. It's like, what are you doing,
yeah,
dude? Like,
just a complete colossal mess.
Oh.
Another mess in action tonight. The Giants 2-5
That's right.
at the Steelers, Acrisure Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Russell Wilson making a second start as a Steeler. What will happen? Let's find out, Tony, in a full-on Monday Night Football frenzy.
Yeah, let's freaking go, baby. It's our time. Monday night, the solo game, thank God. So we can all focus on the G-men taking on Pittsburgh here. Pittsburgh, -6 here. They're 5-2 on the year, 2-1 at home. Total 36.5, Brian. Daniel Jones, I mean, obviously, no matter what, he's going to be your starting quarterback for the Giants. But, I mean, he's trying to get something going. Only 6 touchdowns on the season. 4 picks, dude. Russell Wilson getting the start tonight?
Yes. Yeah, Justin Fields actually questionable. For this with a hamstring, but it's been established that Russ is going to be the starter. And I think he does what he needs to do. I think they will pound the rock. I think Harris over 100 yards. Jalen Warren getting some carries. Maybe Russ scampers a couple times. But this outcome is not in question. This is a snooze fest. Thank God I will not have to watch this being at Yankee Stadium. So I think Pittsburgh easy here. Maybe the rumbles for Dable's job begin because I think this is embarrassing. I'm going to say 28-6 Steelers over the New York Giants.
Steelers and the under, dude. All right, I like that, dude. I will say Steelers and the over here, Brian. I think absolute dumpster fire. I think Wilson honestly has one of those games where he has like 4 throwing touchdowns, maybe even a rushing touchdown as well. G-men, there's no way they're going to be containing him at all. Jones, maybe 2 throwing touchdowns coupled up with 2 picks, maybe.
Yeah. 1-14 prime time, by the way.
Literally, dude. I would say Steelers 35, Giants 14.
Yeah. I mean, just a complete embarrassment. Just like that. Monday Night Football frenzy. So, yeah. I mean, I think in the Steelers, I mean, Bucka has to be riled up. I mean, I think they look like a pretty good team. And we said it going into the year. I know it took longer to see him out there. And I know it was only one game. And this is another game against a weaker opponent. But there just seemed to be something about a Russ redemption story with a good coach in Mike Tomlin that would keep the unlimited stuff kind of, unhinged.
That's
or
right,
not
dude.
Unhinged. You know what I mean?
Hinged.
So, yeah, that'll be interesting.
That's right. Be careful. Steelers, dark horse team over there.
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
you're right. You're right. The way that defense is playing. So only a couple minutes left here. So I just want to touch on a couple quick things, and we'll end it with a World Series prediction for tonight's game. But just wanted to touch on the Rangers 2-1.
Let's go.
Over the Ducks this weekend.
Quack, quack, quack.
Listen, I mean, you expect to win by a wider margin here, to not have to wait to the third period to score. But a win is a win is a win, Tony.
That's right, dude.
Now 6-1-1 on the season. And the fact that Jonathan Quick turning back the clock there, 32 of 33.
Phenomenal.
In net for the Rangers. So at the end of the day, to win 6 out of your first 8 games, that's the start that you wanted to see. And it's nice to know that when your backup needs to play, like he did all last season, that you have as good a chance to win, really almost as good of a chance to win as when Igor is playing, because Quick doesn't play as much. So it seems like he's very fresh when he's out there.
Yeah, no, that's totally right there. And Quick is going to be that guy that he showcased last year. When you need him, when you call him in, he'll be there ready to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is exactly what you want out of a backup tender. That's why he still is the backup tender. You know?
And according to his father's friend, as long as the Rangers will have him, he'll be there.
Yeah,
I mean, why
dude.
not? I think this works well.
Absolutely, dude.
So hopefully we don't need him to start next season. But I think the Igor contract extension will get taken care
Definitely.
of. Lindrum and Cooley with the goals for the Rangers here. And I just wanted to see. So next
Washington tomorrow.
Washington tomorrow, yes,
Yeah.
on ESPN. So 7:30 in Washington should be a good game. Capitals have played well up to this point this year, 5-2.
Mhm.
So we'll have to see what happens there. And then lastly, Tony, all on the line tonight. We'll be in the building, of course. Yankees -150. Schmidt versus Bueller. Backs against the wall here. Let's do a Game 3 World Series frenzy.
Let's go, Brian. This is exactly what you wanted here. The Dodgers are exactly where you want them, thinking they have this thing somewhat in the bag. No, dude. We're in Yankee Stadium tonight, dude. Dodgers +130 here. You know why. Over under is, wait a second, 8.5 here. Dodgers, Yankees, Bueller, Schmidt. Obviously, Schmidt may be a little bit of a question as a starter here, but Bueller should be a pitcher you pop. Judge needing to get going. Stanton's been looking good. Otani's been somewhat put at bay, I suppose.
Shoulder
what do you think?
Concerns as well. So let's
He's
not forget
gonna
about
play.
that. 0 for 4 strikeouts. Anyhow, I think the Yankee, two things set the tone here. Clark Schmidt, I think, will give him 6 innings, give up 2 runs, strike out 6. So just what they need out of the starting pitcher role. I think Walker Bueller chased after 3 1/3, 5 earned runs, and I think 3 of those runs on 1 swing. I think the game starts out like we've seen it start out before. The Glaber single, the Soto walk, and the Judge 3-run homer. The curtain call at the stadium. Judge, confidence back, Yankees back. They tack on 4 more throughout the game. I think Soto will hit a home run and Stanton as well. At the end of the day, it's Yankees 7, Dodgers 3. Yankees back in this series. Let's fucking go.
Book it, Brian. Book that right there, dude.
And
Let's
just
go.
like that is your World Series Game 3 frenzy. Win, win, win. And I have to say, it is making me want to throw up right now. I got a little advertisement clip of Stephen A. on First Take talking to Justin Mendoza. But Stephen A., shut the fuck up. I would say, this is a complete indictment, Bart Scott is more versed on baseball than you. I never want to hear you talk about baseball ever again.
Wow.
Comments to finish up. Go.
Yes, we have here Josh B just trade coaching staffs for the Jets,
Chargers.
obviously. Matthew Ryan says, effing Yankees and effing Jets. Losing culture, screw the Dodgers.
Whoa, let's keep these things separate here, Matthew. And like we said, don't jump off the bridge just yet. Let's win the game tonight. We need positive energy. We're going to get positive energy, and let's get the job done.
Absolutely. And my mother did say, oh boy, those Jets. It's always the kicker lately for them, which is really crazy,
it's everything,
dude.
Though. It's everything. It's literally everything. It's always everything.
It's everything, dude.
Yes. We know that. I have to say, though, today did completely fly by. So what a show. Great to be, back in studio here today.
This is it, dude.
And we really appreciate everybody who tuned in and continues to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee, and Jane. Costume, the merch at downtown.tv.com. Want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games. Let's go, Yankees! And we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.